Hi, my name's Randi Kuhn, and I am a 7th grade geography teacher at Horizon Middle School. Some of the strategies that I used during my session were odd word out, yes, no, and why, thumbs up, thumbs down, fist of 5. I also dabbled a little bit with appointment clock partners, just random partnering, and then I also, messed around with walking around to different students groups and listening in on their conversations and just double checking to make sure that they were on task and whether they were getting the correct answers.
You guys are going to look and decide which word just doesn't quite fit in there. Can there be many ways to look at this? Yes, many ways to look at this. There's not just one right or wrong answer. So be brave, think about it with your partner, come up with what word you think doesn't belong, but then you also need to think about why that word doesn't belong and be able to give a reason. Here's our 4 words: poverty, famine, third world country, and death rate.
I like the odd word out because you think you're just focusing on one definition, but you focus on 4, and it helps prepare for tests.
And this is the partner that I want you to go talk to. This guy right here. You need to go find your 9 o'clock partner. On your marks, get set, go.
The reason why I like to implement odd word out into my classroom is that I give the kids, let's say 4 vocabulary words. When I give them 4 vocabulary words, I want them to process and think about which word might not belong. They can generate all different concepts or ideas behind those 4 words, but what it really does is it makes them understand the definition for 4 words when I'm actually when they're kind of tricking them into thinking about just looking at one. They're actually looking at all 4 definitions, so they're learning 4 definitions when they think they might be learning 1. So it's kind of like one of those teacher trickeries, I guess.
All right, I talked to a few of you. Allison and Megan, you guys were chit-chatting about which word was odd word out. Which one did you guys decide on? Why?
So death rate's the only one that has to do with actually dying. Famine, poverty, and third world, you're just poor.
Yeah, that's a great way to look at that. Anyone else come up with something different that I wasn't around to listen to?
I like Mrs. Kuhn teaching because she teaches us about yes, no, why. It's very fun and interactive, and it gets us prepared for tests.
Good job. All right, now we're going to break down, we're going to do an activity. We're going to do yes, no, and why. All right, are you ready? What I would do, friends, is I would take your cards with you, or if you're looking off of your sheets, you're going to take your sheet with you, whatever you need to be successful, because you're going to get up and start moving around. Are you ready? All right, the first one that we're going to come across is this one. It says, in a third world country, they would probably have a high per capita income. In a third world country, they would probably have a high per capita income. You need to go talk to someone that is just on your side of the room. You have to get up out of your seat, go talk to someone on your side of the room. Stay on your side. Go talk to someone.
One of the rationales for yes, no, and why would be it gets the kids thinking about 2 vocabulary words normally, whether they belong together or whether they don't, and then basically learning those 2 vocabulary words in that one time. So learning those 2 vocabulary words in that one question. And so that's a good way for them to, again, teacher trickery to, get them learning 2 vocabulary words when they just need to answer one question.
Wow, that was good. You guys did a good job. You got quiet real quick, right? All right. In a third world country, they would probably have a high per capita income. Yes, no, tell me why. I'm going to take volunteer for this first one, and then I'm going to pick on some people. Destiny, go for it.
No, because they're not a very developed country.
Sure. They would have a low economy. So would they make a lot of money per person in a third world country? No. No. Good job. All right, the next one. A refugee could be struggling with famine. A refugee could be struggling with famine. You need to look at what the definition of refugee is, what the definition of famine is, and think about whether you agree with that statement, whether you disagree with that statement, and then you need to tell me why.
Yes, because birth rate is when people are born, and death rate is when people die, so it would, of course,
move the population. That is exactly right. How many of you guys said that with your group? Thumbs up if you did, and thumbs down if you talked about something different. Whoa, nice thumbs up. That's great, Kaylee. You hit it right on the head. All right, the next one, we've done this.
The thumbs up and thumbs down is just quick and instant feedback. Feedback for myself, feedback for the students. Hey guys, today we're going to be working on this lesson. Are you tracking me? They can give a thumbs up. Sometimes I'll ask a question, a student will give an answer, and then I'll say, okay guys, do you agree with that? Yes, thumbs up, no, thumbs down. And again, it's just instant feedback on in that moment at that time.
And then after you get the front page done, and this looks like a test setup. Would you say that looks like a test, kids?
Yeah.
It's not. This is just a quick practice, okay? It's not a test, just a quick practice. I want to see if you guys can answer this without your notes. If you thought that was pretty easy, all you do right when you get done, you don't even need to look at me. All you need to do is I want you to hold up a fist of 5. 5 meaning that you thought it was very easy. 4, 3, 2, 1. Holy cow, that was hard, okay? So I want to know, I want some feedback from you on how well this strategy worked today in class. Just represented on how well you guys did on this activity. Like I said, you can use your notes if you want to, but you do not. I want you to challenge yourself to see if you can do it without them. Questions?
Okay, Fist of 5, the rationale for Fist of 5 is, again, it gives me instant feedback in the moment. At the end of class today, I wanted the students to, try their hardest and challenge themselves to see if they could answer all the vocabulary questions without using their notes. And I wanted to know the difficulty on, or the ease on how well they did on that. And it was just instant. And some students, gave me a Fist of 5, no big deal. Some students were kind of shy, gave me Fist of 5, or maybe they were insecure and gave me a 3. It's just instant, in the moment feedback for how well they did. If I got a lot of 1s, I know I need to probably go back and reteach the activity, or hit it again tomorrow. But when I get a lot of 5s, I know that they have grasped the situation and understand the vocabulary.
Here's our 4 words: poverty, famine, third world country, and death rate. Okay, get your definitions. And this is the partner that I want you to go talk to. This guy right here. You need to go find your 9 o'clock partner. On your marks, get set, go.
Appointment clock partners is another one of those, I think, teacher fun things, because it gets them moving around to different people versus just going to their best friend in class. It gets them branching out and talking to different kids. Another reason why I like doing is that there is also a lot of students that might be high or low ability, and it kind of pairs them up all together versus just them being with high ability kids. It kind of gets that whole mix in the group. So that's why I like that.
Okay, first thing we're going to do is we're going to review through vocab. And this vocab is nothing new. We're just going to review it. We're going to repeat the definitions. So be ready. I'm going to call on you. Have your vocab ready. I did go in order. Okay, so the very first one is death rate. Everyone locate death rate. Got it in your heads? Death rate means what, Miss Samantha?
Number of people who, out of every 1,000, who die in a year.
That is fantastic. Number of people out of every 1,000 who die in a year. Samantha, give me a number.
5.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Are you ready? Birth rate. What's the definition of birth rate? What's the definition? It's the second one.
Number of children born each year for every 1,000 people.
Fantastic. Give me a number.
6.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Ready, James? Next one. Famine. What does famine mean?
Lack of food.
Lack of food. That one's an easy one, right? Is that the one that I remember? That one the most. Lack of food. That was just easy to remember. James, give me a number. 8. Ooh, fancy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Molly.
Strategic individual responses is basically letting some of the students that, I have a lot of hand raisers in a class. And so when I get a lot of those hand raisers and they like to be called on, they like that attention, instead of just calling on them, I'll have them just give me a number. Sometimes it catches them off guard, and so when they give me a number, then I'll count that number and let someone else answer. It helps with engagement in class because, once that person's hand's up, the other kids kind of sit back and relax thinking that, oh, Mrs. Kuhn's going to call on them. But in all actuality, when I count off numbers, they know that they need to be back in the game. So they're, again, paying attention. So when I do count the numbers on what student needs to call, they at least are engaged at the moment. Yeah.
I like Mrs. Kuhn's teaching because it's very active and you're just not sitting at a desk all day and just working on a worksheet. You get to move around and talk to a bunch of different people.
Some of the observable ALP strategies that I have noticed from just implementing these strategies into my class have been, just engagement. Engagement from everyone in class, not just my hand raisers, from everyone in class. I've noticed a lot more engagement. I've also known that I'm more random when I call on students, that I'm not just very selective. Also, with some of the Fist of 5, thumbs up, thumbs down, it is instant feedback for myself. So instead of grading paper upon paper, I can have them give me a Fist of 5 and I know how well the lesson went that day and whether I can go on or if I need to go back and reteach it. you know, I've went to quite a few trainings offered by Kearney Public Schools, and you know, I went to APL, I went to ALP then on top of it, and it just gives you new ways to approach a lesson. You know, in years past, I might just give vocabulary. Okay, guys, you need to look these up in the glossary. No big deal. And the kids would go through and look them up, and then they would put them on flashcards and study. Well, implementing these ALP strategies have created so much more participation in class, enthusiasm in class. They like getting up and talking to people, talking about details. You know, you guys were here to tape just 7th period, but in 3rd and 6th, I had so much enthusiasm. They like getting up and talking to kids. They like sharing their ideas. You know, it's nice to see the enthusiasm, because what it boils down to is we are doing vocab, and they get excited about vocab. So it's just one of those neat strategies to use. Some advice that I might give to some of the newer teachers that are in, you know, starting to get into the ALP process is that these strategies that they give you, you know, don't implement them all at once. You might want to take a few and implement them, you know, throughout the week, one here, one there, because eventually you're going to know what works for your classroom and what's not going to work for your classroom. You're also going to know what works for your teaching personality and then what doesn't, because not all the ALP strategies you can use at one time, nor do they work with your lesson. So just knowing that they're there, they're part of your toolbox to go ahead and implement them whenever you get a chance.